All right, everybody, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I almost said Armello here. Bald here.
Board here.
We're going to give you a review of Armello, the board game collector's edition by King of the Castle games.
King of the Castle.
Castle of the King games. King of the Castle games.
Yeah, so this is another brand new game we got in. We have the unboxing. We have our new setup with unboxing for this video. So go back and check that up, where we have merged. What?
So go back and check that up.
Check that out. We have merged our rulebook rundown style into our unboxing video. So we'll do a normal unboxing now and then show you the setup of the game. We're not going to walk through the rulebook in the same style we used to. We'll still do that off screen so we can learn how to play. But we'll definitely give you the setup as part of the unboxing video now.
Yeah, it seems like that's the one thing that a lot of people don't go over is the setup. So a lot of people do go over the how to play portion of the game a bit better than we do. Our rulebook rundowns in general weren't really how to plays. They were more of us going through the rulebook, but people were trying to use them as how to play. So if we missed something or misinterpreted something, it created a problem. So we're like, you know what? We'll do the setup. That allows us to get into the game faster, which is ultimately what we all want to do.
Yep.
So review videos. If you haven't seen one beforehand, we do it a little bit differently, of course, than a lot of people. We review our games individually over multiple categories. So for this type of game, we're going to have storage. We're going to have the rulebook, the design, and the gameplay that will get scored on weighted scale. So storage is 15%, rulebook is 25%, design is 20%, and gameplay is the last 40%, because that's what we all really care about is the gameplay. Then we'll get individual scores, then we'll get an overall Bald and Board Game scores with the average of those scores, and that'll tell you if this game is a don't play, just okay, must play, or perfect. All right.
Throw it away.
I don't know if we have a throw it away portion, but no.
We've never gone that low.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
But here we go. So first category up is storage. So we have this storage box, which is the main box, plus this add-on box, as he tilted it, that stores the 4 player trays.
Fix that later.
What are your first thoughts?
For the components anyway. All right, so thought number 1 is going to be on this here. So I might as well take this out now. I have to redo it anyway, which is fine. The components I put in there, you don't have to. But so in this box here that they gave you, you have all of these. So they gave you these cool dice trays individually, which are very reminiscent of the mobile game version of this, where you roll in here and you put them up there, and it works phenomenally during the game. It's great. And so these, there's no way in hell these are going to fit into this box with the board, and especially if there's 4 of them. So
specifically put together, they'll fit in the box if you take it apart.
Put together, obviously. So they gave you this nice box that fits all 4 of them nice and snug in there, and this just sits with that one. So I do enjoy that portion about storage. What are your thoughts on storage so far?
I'm going to call out same but different. I do enjoy that they have a box for these player trays, because once they're put together, you want to keep them together.
Yep.
Like, it's annoying to take something like this that takes a minute or 2 to get together and then have to jimmy it out, because it's going to start to break eventually if you had to take it together, take it apart, put together over and over again.
Yep.
So I do like that it exists in this style. What is annoying, and it's something that's happened in multiple games recently, there's no way to put that box in this box.
Yep.
So now, on your shelf, you have to have both boxes separate. I wish they just added a little bit more height to this box, or whatever they could have done, where that box could have just gone right on top. Or in the side, or however they could have done it. They could have made this box slightly larger to fit everything in here.
Yeah, and I will say that, as just like a caveat for anyone who ends up getting the regular version of this game, this, I believe, does come specifically with the Collector's Edition, but there's plenty of Collector's Edition games that do have slightly bigger boxes than the base game because of reasons like this. For instance, Brett Walda's main box is a big square box for the Collector's Edition, where Brett Walda's main box is a box more similar to this size. So that covers these trays. For the main box here, you have some things that are good, some things that aren't. So some things that are good is all the minis have a spot they go in. Everything fits in here, other than, of course, these that we mentioned, just fine, with no box lift, nothing of that sort feeling like it's going to get damaged or squished, which is great. One of the things that is kind of annoying is these minis are really in there tight, which you think would be a good thing so they don't fall all over the place, but being in there too tight, you're risking pulling off an arm or a piece of the mini trying to just get those out of there. So I have to go in and like find where it's stuck and like push in this black side to permanently let me take out these minis a little bit easier. Like even this one I can't get out right now. So that's going to ultimately cause some damage to those, especially this guy over here with his little green sword. I had to push in the side a little bit so I could even try to get him out. But even now, like it's almost impossible to try and get him out of there at the moment. So there's no room to like get your finger in to pull it out. There's nothing to really help pull it out there. They're just too stuck in there. Well, these guys are in there perfectly fine.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about this box is, and we'll take these out. These are just some extra pieces. This whole well section in the center. We've had this issue with a lot of games. Some games do it great, and it's wonderful. Yep. Most games do not. There are, I'm just going to average, about 12 decks of cards in this game. All of them just get lined up in this well. That causes two different problems. Number one, all of the cards are together. So now when you go to set up, you have to take out the whole large stack of cards, sort through, be like, okay, this one goes over there, this one goes over there, and then put back the ones you don't need. And so that obviously adds time to set up. But also, for all the other pieces here, you have these pieces, you have these, they all just also sit in this well.
Yep.
So yes, they're in bags, great. But they're all just sitting in a large well, which gets very annoying. They could have easily broken the well into sections at least for the different cards or the components, or done something a little bit better. Okay. There's something a lot of games have done, and I don't know if this section is used for anything else, where they could have had a topper above the minis and had this as a well section for the different components that you could pop out and have on the side of the table.
Yep.
For the different, like you can literally have poured these into the different sections.
Yep.
So that is my main gripe with this storage.
Something I do like about the storage, so unlike the dice trays, is there is this castle that you can put together in their collector's edition, which they do have a location for right here.
That's what I was saying.
It just sits right in there, and that just chills, and you're good. So you don't have to worry about trying to take this apart, because this was a little bit difficult to get together. It would definitely rip apart trying to get it apart, put it back together over and over again. Yeah, I think we covered it all. All right, so I give storage a 3.5 out of 5. I appreciate the things that they tried to do and or did, but the areas that they didn't do or weren't paying attention when doing definitely dragged it down for me.
He was nice. I gave storage a 2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Dead center. Like, the minis are cool, but they'll come in design more than anything else. And they fit where they need to fit, but the whole well in the center is annoying to me. The fact that the box where all the player trays go in doesn't fit into this box is annoying. So I think storage is dead middle of the road.
Well, there you go. Alrighty, everybody. Next up is the rulebook and the associated player aids that come with the game.
Start guide in this game.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll just quickly do the thing. So the thing.
Do the thing.
The overview.
Yeah, do the thing.
There is a getting started guide. There is a rule book, and then there are player aids. Yep. And there's 3 of them technically. So you have 2 that each player will get, and then you have a third, which is a table-wide one for battling. So, starting with the get started guide, this guide goes through and lists out your components, which is very well done. Tells you how many you have of each one, gives you the symbols, very nicely done. Goes over setup of a bunch of the different parts of the game that you need to be able to set up across the table, and then gives you kind of a quick hits list of component overview of what are the different symbols mean, what are the components, what are the quest cards and the player cards look like, etc. And then even if you're interested back here, there is a video games differences section, and then iconography. So I'll give you 2 positives, 2 negatives. Positive 1, iconography on the back, great. Specifically where cards have this kind of like, 8-bit drawing, whatever they call this type of drawing style?
Sketch.
Or sketch drawing. And then like the board is actual drawing. So it shows you the comparison. This is great. Right on the back, you can have that off to the side because you don't use this book once the game starts.
No.
Second positive thing, again, is how the components are listed. I think it's very clear. It was easy to grab all the groups of cards and portion them out like this based on how this shows. 2 negatives. Number 1, setup here. this setup guide, and we'll just go, I'll just put that right there. The setup guide goes through a nice structure, step 1, step 2, step 3. It goes through step 9. It does not cover every part of the game.
Nope.
There is at least 4 to 6 decks of cards that are not included in this setup guide at all. Specifically, all of the monster cards. Doesn't tell you where to put them. Doesn't tell you if you've shuffled them or not. It's not called out anywhere in this game, and that is part of setup.
Yep.
The other thing is, and I think this is called Setup Components and Card Descriptions Guide. I think this doesn't need to be in here.
No.
I like explaining what the cards mean, especially when you get to this page and explaining quest cards and player cards. But the fact that this is in a start guide, I don't think is necessary. And there's a lot of information they provide. The fact that you provided all this information, a full page on a player card, but didn't provide an explanation on where to put the guard cards is dumb.
Yeah, and there's a spot on the board, obviously, for where to put them. But again, they
only on the deluxe board.
Right, on the deluxe board, there's a spot where to put them. Other than that, they're just cards that are somewhere around the outside of the board. But they don't tell you to shuffle them or anything of that sort. There's one thing, like in our video setting up, I thought we were gonna have to put the Mad King in the middle because I played the video game, but you don't do that either. So I even think for that, maybe even calling out that, hey, because this was video game before, people have that notion, being like, hey, we're not putting him out, he'll come out, at once this thing is passed, check the rule book for that. But in general, like this, and the rule book's not that big, there's no reason why this couldn't have been in the rule book. It didn't have to be separate, just front of the rule book, setup, cover everything, then go into how to play the game, and in the back of the book, you have your description for the cards. The cards in this game don't need an appendix. They're not those kind of cards. It's not that difficult. So a separate book for card description, you don't need it. This is a waste of paper and a waste of time. It ultimately created more confusion. Unfortunately, like a lot of games do. Luthier, which is another great game, did the same thing. Had a setup and quick play, start to go guide, but it had you referring back to the rule book and back and forth, and ultimately made it more confusing to learn than if you just put it at the start of the rule book. Setup, here's how to play the game, here's an example round, and get into it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, getting started guide. Sorry. So then we get into the main rule book here. So the main rule book isn't hard to get through. Goes through pretty quickly. I think that it is organized, the main rule book is, in a way that makes sense, that's intuitive. It goes over your different components and stuff and what they mean, battling, the sequence for battle, prestige, victory, quest, bounties, death, all of those sort of things. Your Banes, your guards, your NPCs. This area with NPCs, we're going to have an issue in this rulebook, which we'll talk about in a moment. But other than that issue with the NPCs, I don't think we ran into anything that was bad, at least for my opinion, in this book. The amulet portion in the back is really cool. It's kind of like an achievement board to add cards to the game over time. If you want, I would never mark up this book just because that's who I am. I would get a copy of this printed out and maybe put it in here.
It's kind of like video game-esque, where hey, you did this a few different times.
Trophies, yeah. And then you have your FAQ, your glossary in the back here as well. The glossary, again, is okay. It doesn't cover everything. It's more of a glossary for effects here and there, but I remember there's some things we're trying to look up that weren't in this area. But would you like to talk about our issue with the NPCs?
Sure. So, overall, I'll just quickly call up the rest of the rule before we get to that point. I agree with the rest. So, the structure is nice.
Yes.
It goes through the different sections of
pictures are fun.
And there's some fun flavor pictures.
These examples are nice.
Yeah. So, the structure of the rule book is nice. The one thing I will call out is right at the beginning of the rule book, it hops in. Sure, we have credits. Cool. Right into game sequence. I know we have a separate book over here. That's not great. I wish the components list was, again, repeated in this book. Because if you're going to talk about a bunch of things, which are components, I don't want to have to go look at a separate book to know exactly what component you're talking about.
Right.
Put the components list here. But yeah, so the structure of all this is great. There's great pictures. There's great color gaps between some of the examples. Very clear highlighted sections. But yes, to your point, we have this section here for NPCs. So very specifically, as a player in the game, you're going to be encountering Banes and Guards as the two main forms of NPCs. How to encounter them is how they encounter you is how they're activated. So if one region does not have a guard or a bane, one thing happens. If there is already a guard or a bane there, if you're activating them, a different thing happens.
And that's the bold here. It says if there are no guards/banes in the rolled region, do this text and everything that follows. Conversely, if instead there is one or more guards or banes in that region, do this. Which means if this is not true, do this.
Yes. So I literally work as a data analyst, my day job.
Same.
Where this is an if-then statement. So it's a bold text. If this is true, continue on. If it's not true, stop reading and go to the next section. And it's very clearly bullet point 1 here with that symbol, bullet point 2. These are sub-bullet points. The issue is the second bullet point down here does not make sense.
So I'm going to read the whole thing here for you so you can get context to this. So it says, if there are no guards/banes in the rolled region, place a miniature of the appropriate type from the supply on the NPC's setup tile, which means banes go on dungeons, guards go on their marked spots. If there are no miniatures left in the supply, the underdog, person behind, chooses one from another region on the board to move it to the new setup tile. The newly placed NPC does not move, its activation ends.
Which is perfectly clear so far.
Perfect. Now it goes into, okay, so if a bane is going out, bane setup tile says is dungeon. Cool, makes sense. So if there's no banes in that region, put a bane on the dungeon. If the dungeon is occupied by a non-bane, the bane attacks that creature. If the bane is slain, it is not placed on the board. If the bane is defeated but not slain, the victor routes it one tile from the dungeon. Still great. So if something's occupying that dungeon,
if I was there and the bane came in, we would get in a battle.
Right.
I either win and the bane's gone, or if I slay him and the bane's gone. If the bane is defeated but not slain, he just moves over a little bit.
Right. So here, it is a non-bane creature. That's the only time that happens. So now, if the dungeon is occupied by a bane, this is in a section where it's supposed to be only if there is no bane in the same region. It's impossible for there to be a bane that's not in the same region, but is somehow occupying a dungeon in that region.
Correct.
And this is where it breaks. So if a dungeon is occupied by a bane, the new bane setup tile is any adjacent tile chosen by the underdog, and as above, fights a creature there if possible. So what that's saying here is if there's a bane in the dungeon, in that same region, put it on an adjacent tile instead. Where it breaks is this is in the section that says only do this if there are no banes in that region.
Yeah. So we literally, again, we didn't do a rulebook rundown for this game, but off screen, off screen, we read it before playing, and we went for it was a 15-minute discussion of this doesn't work.
Debate.
And Bald was trying.
I was trying to find the way to make it work.
Yeah, he was trying to be like, oh, this is what they mean. I'm like, no, it's worded this way. It means this. That doesn't work.
Yep.
So we just scrapped that whole bullet point. But that is something, and it's happened in Dark Blood, I believe it happened. It's happened in a few other games where there's a section in the rulebook that breaks its own rulebook or just makes it super confusing for players. So, other than that, this rulebook is well done. It gives you the information you need. Nicely highlights things, except for that one section.
Yep, exactly. And it's not a typo where they said if it was occupied by a guard, because a guard falls into creatures. Like up here, it says a guard would attack creatures, like a bane.
Literally just as non-bane.
Exactly. So, if and in there, I don't know if in the glossary it specifies that creatures mean non-banes and non-guards. I don't think it did. I think we tried looking that up.
No, it doesn't say creature. That's what I'm saying.
It says non-bane. It says attacks a creature. Yeah,
so attacks the creature, yeah. A creature is everybody.
So it contradicts itself.
Yeah.
So if they mean that a bane should still go into adjacent spot, then this needs to be its own section, not within this bullet point.
Correct.
As a caveat. Which would be here before, it'd be in this if there are one or more.
Yeah.
It'd fall into this, not down here.
Yeah.
So if you end up seeing this King of the Castle games, please comment below to help all of us out.
Yeah, but then again, on the back of the main rule book, we have a quick start guide. So we had a quick start booklet, and then we have a quick start guide here, which is kind of defeats the purpose.
Yep.
This also shows you, perfect example, number 6. If we look at number 6, can you read that? Because I'm talking. Oh, no, I can read that. Prepare the early declaration deck, set aside the late declaration deck. That's these two right here.
Yep.
1 and 2.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decks of cards are here. We have them. It does not give you any context, letters, or anything of what to do with those 5 decks. We assumed we'd shuffle them and place them by the board. but there's no context in the Quick Start Guide or the Quick Start Rule Booklet to tell you to do that.
Yep. And what's funny is like this is a step better than that setup because it actually gives you the full layout of where cards go at least, and it does reference things in here. Actually, that one referenced the declaration decks, but that was the only deck in preference. So this is the same as that.
No, it is, but just written differently.
You have the picture now.
Yeah. All right, and then finally we have the 3 total little player aids. So the battle sequence one on the bottom is just, there's only one. It's just for the table. So if you go into battle, you know the round structure.
Yep, double-sided here.
On the back, as if you're in the about the king specifically.
It's like winning the game.
Pretty much, yep. And then regicide victory. Regicide is if you get to 30 VP or prestige or whatever.
Regicide victory is getting to 70. King battle is the other one.
No. Regicide unlocks king battle. This is a battle card only.
Oh, that was victory.
This is a proclamation victory.
Oh, I thought there's. Why does it say victory then?
Because if you get to 30, then you can face the king and win victory by facing the king.
That's stupid.
I thought
Shouldn't call it victory.
I thought it was fine.
Stupid.
The other 2 here, we have one that has turn structure on one side. On the other side has fight dice. So if you're using dice to fight, the white dice there, and then what happens at the end of the battle. The other one goes through exploration dice. So if you do the explore action in a dungeon, what happens with your dice? And then on the back, all of the terrain effects and common dice powers. My thoughts on these are, this is great. Turn structure, cool. Yep. Tells me what I can do. My main phase, end phase, awesome. For the other parts of this, fight dice actually like. In theory, this probably could be on the battle sequence card, and just like at the bottom, there's a lot of information on that card for somewhat no reason.
We could also just,
and I like here that, hey, this is the victory, or what I'm going to get if I win, so I can kind of plan ahead if I want to get into battle or not. This card, to me, is kind of where it loses the plot. The terrain effects are already on the game board, as you can see right here.
Yep.
I don't need them on a card additionally, or I don't need them on the game board.
Yep.
What I brought up in our playthrough is I actually wish they would remove them from the game board, leave them on the card, put both the fight dice and the common dice right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, you're looking at the board, you're like, hey, here's the 6 symbols on the white dice, and here's what they do. Here's what they do.
Here's what it do.
Here's what happens when you roll them. Here's the 6 symbols on the black dice, or your personal color dice, if you have the updated pack, and what they do. I don't think they should be on these cards. This was too much flipping back and forth throughout the game to be like, okay, well, I just rolled dice. Now I need to look what those dice do. Now I'm going to explore, and I need to flip it back again. Now I'm going to go fight. I need to flip this around. It was just too much flipping of these 2 pages for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they need to put the dice. I don't mind these being like they are. What I don't think is necessary is having the terrain on here and on here. Again, they could take the terrain off here because you're going to use this anyway when you're looking at the terrain. And instead, on the board, there should be, there's room enough, I think, for, hold on. Yeah, there's room enough here for 2 of these. So you can use NPCs in the game. So just leave this open to put these cards on. One here for the NPCs when you play with them. And now that's being utilized in a way that's efficient. Like you could turn this, the quest deck can go sideways. It doesn't need to be like that. And now this has more of a function because all you did, you're repeating this that you already have there. You don't need that. The
wound deck doesn't even need to be on the thing. It could be off the table.
Yeah, the wound deck could be over here with all the dark cards anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so this would be better utilized, I think, for NPCs if you're using them as NPCs. The one thing that we did notice, again, with a contradiction, not a contradiction, but typo on the battle card is
number 6.
Yep, as we go down here, after number 6, it says, okay, if both combatants are NPCs and the loser is slain, play your defender, draw, and refill your hand. So that happens after 6. It's not a bullet point within 6. So just at this moment, it's saying just do that. But then if you can continue down here, if defender was a player hero, they may discard and redraw up to their wits.
Yeah.
So you're doing it twice?
So the bullet point number 6, the bold there, the player defender, draw up to refill your hand, is not in the rulebook. Yeah. We went back to the rulebook. That bullet point does not exist in the rulebook. It only exists at the end. It's just randomly placed there. So what seems like it happened is here and in the rule book, and I don't know if this is a translated game or not for the board game, but it seems like there was things they did and they just had kind of ready, and they never went back and like understood their process. So something like that can be very confusing in battle sequence to be like, oh, I'm defending. Oh, I'm going to redraw my hand. Cool. And then, oh, wait, now I'm down there. Oh, now I can do it all over again. And I can discard the cards I just drew because I didn't like them and draw a whole new set of cards. And you're not supposed to be able to do it. You're supposed to be able to do it once at the end of battle and then be done with it.
Yep. Exactly. So that was, I think my final issue with the rulebook was that one thing there.
So, final scores for the rulebook, the player aids, and the quick start guide. I am going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Main reason for that is the big gap with the NPC and how problematic that became. The fact that this exists and shouldn't, and is missing information for setup, and how the player aid cards just have too much information and information I don't need to be on them.
I gave the rulebook a 3.5 out of 5. I know you're going by the logic of the just okay mindset. Is it definitely teaches you how to play the game. When it teaches you, the only issue with playing the game was that summoning portion that got confusing. But everything else is perfectly clear, easy to go through. Even like this here, one check in the rule book because that contradiction, that extra spot that didn't make sense, cleared that up right away. So that also didn't bother me because it was a one-time thing. So the only issue that ultimately I really ended up having was that NPC portion. Like, yes, I think that this is useless and could be in there, but it would have been the same if it was in there. If it was one book, the problem still would have persisted with that one section. And ultimately, this booklet wasn't the issue. It was the lack of information from both of them and where to put those cards, and then the extra info that didn't make sense for these Banes. So that's why I put it at what I consider my slightly above middle ground of 3.5.
All right. So now we are on to design. This includes how everything looks on the game board and player boards areas, as well as the components and what they're made of.
All right. So starting off, I love the look of this game so much. They did a great job mirroring the look of the video game themselves. I like this over the head, the slightly like realistic terrain. Again, very much matches the video game as you're traveling through each of the sections. Each of the sections are very clear and different, which is nice. And then of course you have your references for what each section does. The regions are very clearly separated, so there's no confusion as to which region is closer or further board for your purpose of your quest.
No, my issue wasn't, I think, the region. What region? So I think it's the spot within the region.
You're counting the space, yeah.
I was initially just looking, these regions are equidistant apart.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go to this one.
Yeah.
And you got to count the spaces to that closest thing.
Yeah. Watch our playthrough, that's what I'm talking about. So overall, the look I love. I love the slightly cartoony aesthetic of things and how they leaned into that look of the game. The artwork on the cards is, I think, phenomenal. Clearly not AI, clearly hand painted. It's just a lot of fun to look at. So that's my first thing. I like the look of it.
Yeah, so I never played the video game, but the look is cool. Everything you need is here. Obviously, you have the different regions, very clearly aligned. I like how obviously the outside border is your typical round or prestige VP, whatever it's called in this game, track. I like that it's also not overwhelming.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to look at, but it's not like overly compact on top of each other.
Yeah.
Which is nice. The other side of this also has another version of the board. I'm not just going to flip the board and show you. But, there is like a orangey, like
it's
darkest.
Darker.
Yeah.
I think there's like more mountains and stuff. You're playing in Mordor.
Yeah. So there's two versions of that, so that's kind of cool. The one thing I will call out, which is kind of annoying to me, is you have here the different locations. You have 6 regions.
Mm-hmm.
Why not make it 8 regions? Where's north and south? That's what bothered me. I'm like, we have southwest, west, northwest, northeast, east, southeast.
Again,
but no south and no north. But I didn't know if the video game had it that way.
No. Because you don't have this. These are there purely to serve for the quests.
Yeah, so I wish they just like broke this, like put south here, put North there, and have 8 regions.
Well, again, the reason probably why they didn't is the same reason that someone gave you for Aspens is because these are hexagonal, not octagonal.
That doesn't mean anything in
There's
this
6
game.
sides. I'm just saying.
It's just give me a D8, and I'll roll a D8 and pick the location.
I'm just saying that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Actually,
it does matter because they use that on these cards. They use the 6 sides for determining your directions.
Yeah, but they could have used 8 if they
had.
Yeah.
They could use an octagon.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have fit perfectly, though.
But yeah, that looks cool. My first point for design is... Which one do I start with? I'll go with our player areas. We'll do that.
Cool.
So here, I'm playing as the yellow character, Amber. She is this bunny with a parasol. It has a very nice structure. We just did a review for Secret Societies, and we've done a discussion review comparison for our Tales of Arthurian Nights and Tales of Arabian Nights.
Yep.
Both were a little bit different. One of the issues I had with one of those was how much space it took up.
Yep.
This is the opposite.
Yep.
This, you have this little player card, just a little bit larger than the index card. You have your advancements deck here. I have my hand of cards. I have my remaining deck of available cards, and then any quests. And then you just have like your resources around. So very compact, very nice. Everything else happens on this game board, which isn't that overly large of a game board. And then, hey, I use some cards, discard pile, draw a new card. Great. It's very nicely laid out. So for design of how they built this player area, I think is great. The card is very clear. This is my health. This is spirit. This is how many dice I get while fighting. Wits is hand size. You have these 2 dice, which is your starting 2 dice when you go through your start of turn. My ability, which is very clear. So everything is very clear, and boom.
Yeah, I'll continue off that for my area. So I really like this aspect here, to where as you complete quests and you get your bigger rewards, you stack them up here in this quest and permanents area, which give you your permanent boost to things.
How'd you get so many spirit stones?
Just found them. So these give you points as you find them, as you can see on the main board. When we go back to it, they'll give you points, and then these increase your stats and give you extra dice. So completing quests not only gives you points, but also makes you stronger, which is one of the things I loved in this. Is you can really push to your quest. It's going to give you those benefits, and when you choose your quest, you get 2. You pick one. Like, okay, what is the benefit that I need more of? And then you can go after that one. Or hey, what region is going to be really difficult to get through? Which is a lot of fun. And then if you want to go back to the main board, the caveat on your board size, this square is the main board. The deluxe version that we have, the collector's version, extends it all out, but I believe that this square is the base version of it, really, and so it's just slightly bigger to have a spot.
It shows you that on the back of the rule book. It just shows you that. It's just pretty much it's literally the board or where the numbers are is the board.
So you get the base version, it takes up like literally no space, which is great. Let's go to the dice. I'll talk about the dice here. So there's a couple different dice. We have your battle dice, which are the white ones. The regular dice that come for the power dice are these black and gold ones, which you would roll, which we have gotten the deluxe collector's edition with the larger versions of those, which are color coded your character. So these we weren't really using, but these are also really nice if you chose to use those. Despite the confusion during the game from board, I do think that each symbol is very distinct in what they look like. The confusion came from the tree and the sun. Yeah. But I like that these symbols, I like they're not typical dice. It's fun to have the symbols because now the symbols become multifaceted based on what they're being rolled for and when. So like when you roll these at the beginning of your turn, they essentially give you 2 extra abilities on your turn that you can do, where you can move enemies, or you could draw cards, or whatever it is, or go again, or this, or that, the other thing. And
or then save them for future use.
Right, or save them for
defensive
defensive use during someone else's turn, or during the Bane's turns, the guard's turns, to help defend yourself in battle. So I think that the use of the dice is an amazing look that they did for those, which is great.
I think the last thing I'll call out for design is the cards. So you can kind of see it from this view right here. You have a marketplace of cards to build. It is a partial deck builder. The cards are very clear. Top right corner, there's the cost. Is it cost of gold, or is it cost of gold and magic combined, where you can split it up however you want. Very clear. It has the name of it. It has what type of thing it is, a spell or an item. It gives you the effect. We called out the iconography before. It's all very clear. Like, hey, you get 2 of those symbols, or you get 2 dice, or you get 1 of each of those.
Yep.
And then at the very bottom, some of these have an extra benefit. Like, hey, if you did save this die from earlier, cool. Now I can use that die here and get an extra. I can spend 1 die from a power die to get an extra battle die.
Yeah.
So I love the design of the cards. The pictures are cool, and everything is very clearly written.
Yeah. All right. Talk over the last very few things we have here. So tokens. You have some tokens in the game here, which are just the punch board tokens. So to help for when you're facing enemies, when your dice pool gets too big, you don't have to worry about compromising using dice. They gave you little punch board stuff to put down instead. Then you have other tokens that come in during the game for experience or perils, like you see on the board here, that are great. The spirit stones are so cool. They look like the spirit stones from the game, which is great. So the fact they went above and beyond to actually get these to be in the game like that, like little marbles. The tokens for the health, the money, the magic, I don't mind these just being wooden pieces. I do appreciate that they actually put symbols on there. One of the previous games that we just reviewed, we're talking about how the pieces are wooden pieces, but there's nothing on them. There's no pictures, nothing, so they're so bland. It's amazing how a simple silkscreen picture can make something look so much better. I think Tiny Epic Games figured this out a long time ago. So that is great. And then you were just holding the bounty thing as well, which I have on my character over here as well. So again, this might be a collector's edition thing specifically, but they have these bounty things that go on the bottom of the minis when you are wanted, and it's easier to find if you're wanted. In the base version, you have punch boards that you would put under yourself instead, which you'd have to move with yourself, which is fine, but these are great for this edition. And then, of course, we do have these trays, which I think are phenomenal. These, I think, again, are exclusive to collectors, so this isn't going to factor into the score at all. But it's just fun having these like this, again, like the video game, and being able to put your attack against defense and roll in your own dice tray here with your own picture. Again, it's great. Okay. So, my design score for Armello is a 5 out of 5. I love literally everything about the design of this game. The castle that they gave you as well, that component isn't even needed, and they've made it so it fits in the box. The look of the territory, nothing is unclear as to what is different in this and where everything goes and what it means.
I will agree. My design score is also a 5 out of 5. I'll say my gripe about the North and South missing is just personal preference. I want to see 8 sides.
That's in every single game that has that. There's some prejudice against North and South that he really is out to end.
Yeah, right. Get rid of West Hollywood. No, it's good.
West. Oh no.
West, get out of the West.
East Hollywood.
But yeah, so 5 out of 5. Great design. Everything is clear.
This is why also. So using 8-sided die.
I know. I said that earlier. I was using D8.
Yeah.
Okay, so final category is what?
It's gameplay, everybody. All right, the good fun, the good stuff. Start us off.
Yeah, so the quick overview of gameplay is, again, this fits kind of into a dungeon exploration type of vibe a little bit, where you're on a quest. So you're going to move your character around the game board.
There are multiple quests.
Oh, yeah. You start with one, and then you'll...
there's one main quest everybody has to win.
Yeah. So you're starting with moving your character around, going different places. You have quests independent to yourself that you're trying to complete to gain different benefits, as Nick showed off. You can go to a dungeon, explore, and gain resources. So there's that resource management style. There's the deck building style, where at the end of your turn, you can spend coins and or shared magic, which are 2 of the resources, to buy cards to improve upon future turns. So that is the brunt of your gameplay, is move around, do things to gain resources, to complete your quest, to gain cards, and boost yourself up. The win conditions are 2 things. Either 1, reach number 30 here, then go into the castle and fight the king, and you have to beat the king within 5 rounds. They have 10 health, and you're just going to try to murder them. Or If you don't feel like that's your option, continue around and get to 70. End your turn with 70 VP. Boom, you win. And there's a nice balance between the two. But that is pretty much how the game plays. You go around until someone has done that. So for my first bullet point, I'll call out the balance, since I like doing that anyway. So the game is well balanced where both players can get to 30 fairly easily.
Yep.
Because doing a quest is going to get you between like 8 and 13. So you do a few, like 1 or 2 quests, you do a few other things that gain you some points, boom, you're at 30. Getting to 70 is a struggle. You really have to commit to that route where you either A, have to collect the stones, and that'll give you points based on how many you collect. 2, you have to go through and battle because each battle will give you different VP. So if you want to get to 70 as your answer, you have to focus on that. Or if you're someone who's like, hey, I just have a beefy character with a lot of dice, I'm going to go after the king. You can do that. So I do like the balance where there's 2 options. If you happen to not really have a great card selection for fighting, at least fighting the king, you can still go around and be able to get a victory type.
Yeah. I like the quest situation. I like that when you get a quest card, you have regions, and to put your quest marker in the furthest region from you, and you know, okay, I'm going to the tile that matches symbols. Like this one has a dungeon on it. So like if I pulled this one, I'm in Northeast right now, so I'd have to go to the Southwest area, and I wouldn't put it on the dungeon because I don't want them to know that I'm there, but I would put it like in the Southwest area or just over here by this region. So now people know you're trying to get over there. So there's always a little bit of information everyone has. So now as I'm trying to go, during the game, you'll potentially be able to maneuver minis based on your roles you have, your guards and your banes. So you could try to end up getting people like in the way to make sure that if you were going to go over there, you're going to have to fight somebody and hopefully end up, dying in the process. So I think that is a lot of fun. I really love the way the questing works. And like I said before, and I like that when you get rewards, like it feels like your work was worth it. You get cards to put into your deck, you get to heal, you get a boost on a stat typically, and you get points. Where most games, you get points or you get a treasure. Here it's like, no, you did some shit, you get some shit, which is great. And it's a permanent upgrade for you. One of my favorite things about this, despite forgetting to do it almost every single turn, is I like that you roll these and you have these 2 variable abilities every single turn you take. And then you can choose to hold on to them, like you said, to help you out earlier with cards during battles and stuff. I think that is a lot of fun in that turn-to-turn structure. I love the deck building aspect of this. This is one of the deck builders that I do see becoming one of my favorites because the cards feel like they have a purpose, more so than a lot of other deck builders. A lot of other deck builders, you're collecting cards so you can move more, or so you get more gold or whatever it is. It's very resource heavy. Where here it's like, no, you can choose to get cards to get stat boost, to get dice to roll during battle, to get specific outcomes during battle, whatever. You had one where you were able to play one card, which allowed you to play another one for free, which allowed you to spend magic to do this thing, which got you more magic. And you can combo like that, which is just so much fun. So the deck building aspect of this is one of my favorite parts of this, and it makes that questing thing feel like so much fun.
Another thing I love is the day-night cycle or dawn-dusk cycle. So it's the thing that Nick's been playing with for like 20 minutes.
Sorry.
There's a coin, or there's the actual like little.
Yeah, that's like a standee typically.
Yeah.
For reference, this is the first player token, which is also signifying you can flip either one.
Yeah. And the way it works is kind of balanced really well as well too. Where during the dawn, you go through this setup, boom, boom, boom. Once you've done that, you've continued your turn as normal. You get to dusk, you go through the dusk, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm. What?
Spelling mistake. 1, 2, 4.
Hilarious.
Step 3. But the unique thing about this isn't just like, oh, it's the same thing. During dawn is where you activate guards and you gain gold.
Mm-hmm.
During dusk, you activate banes and you gain magic.
Yeah.
So it's a nice balance. We're like, oh, if I have things that are heavy for magic usage, I'm going to be great at the dusk phase because I'm going to gain that. Where someone else may be heavy gold usage or want cards that require gold. And that came into play in our game where I was buying a bunch of magic-based cards because I was gaining, or actually I had cards that required me to use magic. So I would dusk phase, gain magic, boom, use magic. So it has a nice aspect to it with flipping from dawn to dusk.
Yep.
It's not just, hey, it's nighttime, cool, move on. So it actually has meaning to it.
Yeah, I like that there's only ever one spirit stone on the board. And so when it goes to dusk, if this isn't on the board, you will roll this and be, okay, east. So now this is going to go into the, there it is, east, like ring of stones for the spirit stone. And now it's over there. And so there's always one of these on the board every like flip of the round, which is nice. I really enjoy the way the outcomes in battle work, again, to upgrade your hand. So a lot of games where like you get experience, it's few and far between, or like you wouldn't get experience, or when you think you get experience, you don't. Here you do. So here in battle, I'll show you the little diagram they have there. Boop, on the bottom. So that's showing is attack, defeat, slay. So if you're the person to attack someone, you're going to get VP, prestige, whatever it is, right away. You know, once you finish for doing that. And then depending on who you're attacking, you get more. So if it's a Bane or Guard, you get 1. NPC hero, which we'll cover in a minute, you get 2. Player hero, you get 3. If you defeat them, you get more. If you slay them, you get some more. And you also get experience for doing so. And it's all accumulative. So on the bottom, if you attacked and slayed a player hero, you would get the 3. Do you get the defeat also? Or just the attack and slay? I forget.
No, all 3.
Yeah, all 3. So you get a total of 11 VP for slaying a player hero, plus 2 experience, plus potentially 2 more VP if they had a bounty on them. So it feels worth it to go after each other, if you can. But just in general, that you get the experience for killing something is great, and then you use that to upgrade your hand. So I like that you get experience in that way, and not just by getting to point values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And per usual, if you watch our playthrough, we attacked each other once in the whole game. We won the battle 0 times because we both killed each other.
That was hilarious, yeah.
It was just like we each threw a knife at the same time. Like, oh, dead.
It was like that moment in Step Brothers with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
So good.
But yeah, this was great. To me, I don't really have any negatives for gameplay.
I have a want, but not a negative.
Yeah, there's definitely things that could make it better.
Yeah. But
I don't really, there's nothing that would really, like, cause a detriment. There's these declaration cards, and there's a good cycle amount of them. It helps, I know what your one is. It helps.
You don't, but I know what you think it is.
Oh, well, different. It helps clear out the marketplace a little bit. So it's never static or stagnant over here once you get through that part. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
I pulled these cards out because I like that all the enemy cards, the NPC player cards as well. So I'll touch on what that is now. So we have both of us out right now. You can play with every single character, and there's an NPC deck, much like there are for all the other Banes and Guards, which is great. So when you flip them over, on their turn, they have an action, and then they have their battle action, essentially. So the NPCs are roaming, which is so much fun, having all the characters out, the other 2 players roaming and doing their things and potentially attacking you or someone else. But these cards, I forgot to bring up a design, are great that they're designed to where you have the battle action, the Bane action on the bottom, or the character action there, and the battle here. That's multifaceted. I think that was a great design. Very easy to use during gameplay. Then the decrees, he thinks I was going to comment the one thing that I want would be the clearing out the market. Yeah. That's fine because these do it slowly anyway. But these are so random as they come out. And I think it's great. They change up every single round that happens. And when you pass that 30, they get more intense, which is great. So now when it comes to passing the 30, this is where my want is. So there's a variant in this where once a guard comes out, they immediately activate. Or once a Bane comes out, they immediately activate, which is great. We'll definitely play with that next time to create more movement. But what I would wish is that the moment everybody has collected their keys, 2 of each come out each turn, that happens. So every dawn, 2 guards come out, which either means 1 guard comes out, another activates, or 2 activate, or 2 come out entirely.
Or 2 move, yeah.
Yep, just to start filling the board. Make the game more difficult to get to that 70. Because The king is going to be very difficult to beat over 5 consecutive rounds unless you build your hand to specifically do that, and then you need to be able to do that before someone gets to 70. So that might be my only want, is for there to be that upscale in difficulty once everyone gets to the second half of the game, which there is a slight one. The slight one is that defeating these guys gets more difficult. They get a boost of 2 and 2, right?
Yeah, so as
2
soon as
attack
you
and 2
pass,
defense?
it's called, I don't know what it's called, but as soon as you pass 30, there is a thing where they will get a boost where they'll get 2 defense and 2 attack automatically before their card.
Yep. It's on there. But
it's like EX, like a...
it's not exalted. That's
not exalted.
No. Aggravated.
Now I need to know.
Now he needs to know. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Empowered.
Yeah. The card game is very fun. The deck building feels like it's worth it. The battling, rolling dice, again, very fun because you have cards to manipulate your dice. So it doesn't feel like if you suck at rolling dice high, then you're going to be shit out of luck. There's plenty of times where I just murdered people because I had to set my deck up that way.
Yeah.
Which is great.
All right. So, gameplay score for Armello. At least the base version, again, we'll do the variant separately where they activate. We'll figure that out next time and let you know if there's any changes. But the base game version, I give gameplay a 5 out of 5. Thoroughly fun, adds unique variability, but nothing too random where it's harmful.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I give this a 5 out of 5 for gameplay. It is so much fun. Even losing is fun, which is incredibly difficult to do in a game. And it's because it gets you right back in it. You lose, you're chilling for a sec, you spawn, you get right back at it.
Yep.
So good.
All right.
It feels good to kill your friends.
So now we will go through our final scores for each category, go over what we liked about it real quick, like a sentence or two, or didn't like about it, depending on the rating, and then tell you Bald and Board Game score.
All right, everyone. So we are starting off with Storage. So I gave it a 3.5. Board gave it a 2.5. So Bald and Board Games gives it a 3. Now, word to note for those of you, again, who have watched this or haven't seen one of our review videos before, we round down. So if you don't make it to the nearest half or a whole, we go down to the lower score. So Storage gets a 3 out of 5. There is storage. There are places for the minis to be held, and there are bags for components, and there's a well for cards. And things ultimately aren't going to get ruined, but by being in there, but they could get ruined trying to take them out. The minis are in a little bit too tight. Having the additional box that you have to have outside all the time for the collector components of the dice trays is just annoying. Like, you can think ahead, make the box a little bit bigger. There's a lot of those little things that brought that score down to that mid-3 range.
Yep. For Rulebook, Ball gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 2.5. Therefore, it is a 3 again. The Rulebook issue is you have 3 different sets of rulebooks, 2 rulebooks plus the player aids. The Quick Start Guide seems unnecessary. It's a large book for no purpose when it's on the back of the rulebook already. The player aids, to me, just add too much that don't need to be all on here. Some can be on the board or remove it from the board because we don't need duplicates. Yep. And then the rulebook itself, that massive section on the Banes with the NPC and the incorrect versioning, we'll say, or how it works, really brought it down.
All right, now for design, I gave it a 5. Board gave it a 5. So Bald and Board Games gives it a 5 out of 5. The design's phenomenal. Things are smart, intuitive, fun to look at. The artwork isn't AI, so wonderful. The player boards are small, compact, but house a lot of information for you to use. The dice are clear and fun to look. Everything is just intuitive and fun, despite not having North and South.
For gameplay, I gave this a 5. Bald gave it a 5. Bald and Board Games gives it a 5. Again, as we just talked about, gameplay is great. Super fun. You have quests, you have deck building, you have resource management. You can fight a king, you can fight each other. So it kind of hits all the fun things that you would want without it being overwhelming. So it's not too much. It's balanced where you can do different things. You don't have to do the exact same pathway as your opponent. And there's some cool dice and everything. So it's great.
Yeah.
So gameplay was very enjoyable.
All right, everybody. So now, as Bald, my final score was a 4 out of 5 for Armello. So I said, I loved it. A few caveats are the rulebook and the storage.
Yep. Exact same thing. My score is a 4 out of 5 for Armello as well, where rulebook and the storage really made it suffer and keep it below that perfect.
Okay. So Bald and Board Games' final score for Armello is a 4 out of 5, which makes it
A Bald and Board Game certified, must play.
absolutely.
That fits in our category of it's a great game. It hits all the marks you want it to hit. It's a little bit shy on perfect, which, as you know now, is because of the rulebook and the storage.
Yep.
Recommendation is, if you get confused, watch someone else's video on how to play. See someone else play it to make sure you understand it the correct way, to get through those gaps in the rulebook or the setup. But everything else, once you know that, is going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so much fun. Highly recommend. Jump in, play, especially if you're a fan of the mobile game as well. You will absolutely love this. It captures that same feeling, but in tabletop form. A great deck builder if you love deck builders. Very, very light area control with taking over towns and stuff. Very easy to get into and to play. So definitely do not miss this one. And King of the Castle Games, if you end up watching this review video, if you can give us clarification on those things in the rulebook if we did it correctly, or if you meant it to be something else and just a typo, definitely leave a comment down below. Or anybody else who figured it out, let us know as well. Yep. But thank you for joining us here at Bald and Board Games. We gave you a review of Armello, the board game, Collector's Edition by King of the Castle Games. I'm Bald.
I'm Board.
And we will see you in the castle. King of the Castle.
Being up the king.
Oh no.
Becoming the king.